Hello out there and welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast. Over the past 4.5 years, we've had over 200 guests, but today I want to have a personal conversation just between you and me about some things I've learned. Please stay tuned. Don't leave me sitting here by myself. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast, where we tell the stories of those who have served in the past and those who are serving today. From transition to financial wellness, VA benefits to mental health, we cover issues facing veterans, active military, and their families. Now here's your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army and co-founder of the American Freedom Foundation, Jack L. Tilley.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks to all of our veterans and service members and families for your service to our great country. Now, before we get started, I personally want to thank our presenting sponsors. Navy Federal Credit Union, whose members are the mission, and Purdue Global, where you can start your comeback, and USAA, whose mission is taking care of the military community and their families always, with additional sponsorship from Blue Cross Blue Shield, FEP Dental, and Blue Cross Blue Shield, FEP Vision. Together, they make your next mission happen. They love our veterans and families. I say it every week. We love them too. We don't have a guest today. Instead, for the next few minutes, I want to talk to you about my life and some things I've learned along the way, good and bad. You know, I grew up in Vancouver, Washington, and then I wasn't the best kid in the world. In fact, I was a terrible kid. Spent a little time in reform school, spent about 9 months in reform school, and then I came home. And for the last 2.5 years, ever before I went into the military, I lived in a laundry room. And I struggled. A lot of us struggle in life, and it's okay to struggle because I think it makes you a better person as you get a little bit older. You know, after that, I never really thought about going into the military, but I did join the Army. I joined the Army after, I got to tell you the story about the Army. I was sitting on a beach drinking a beer, and somebody asked me what I was going to do with my life, and I said, I have no earthly idea. And he said, "You're going to go to college?" And I said, "Well, guys like me don't go to college." And I always say this too: low self-esteem, nothing's going right, no direction in life. And then the next person said, "You want to join the military?" The best decision I ever made in my life. And so I went down and I joined the Army. I went, thought I was going to, change the world or do something. But I joined the Army, went basic training at AIT, and then went straight to war. You see, I never thought I'd ever leave the Army. After going to war and staying in the Army for 36 years, I never thought I'd ever leave. You see, the Army was a part of my life that I loved each and every day. It was my family. It was people that I could reach out to each day and ask for help if I wanted help, and they was always there. But all of us have to move on. All of us have to do different things. And so I got out, and I got to tell you, I struggled for a little bit. I struggled about just trying to fit in, to find a way or find somewhere where I could be useful and productive, just like the military. I laugh about it all the time. And, I was a senior enlisted guy for 1.3 million people. Big responsibility. One day I'm in charge, and the next day it's just me and my wife. And that's it. Nothing else. I love my wife, but geez, she never lets me make a decision. I started 21 years ago with the American Freedom Foundation. I wanted to find a way to help other veterans transition out of the military or find their direction in life. I want them to show exactly what maybe what right looks like, or what I thought right looks like. You see, there's so many people out there that struggle each and every day, and a lot of us just don't know what to do. But I just want to tell you something. There's a lot of people like me that are out there that want to help you. And when you talk about transition, you know, I wish I'd have started my transition 2 years out, but again, I never thought I'd ever get out. It's sort of a crazy thing to say, isn't it? You know, after 36 years, you got to get out. But I never thought it would happen. I thought maybe I would just die in the Army. You see, I love the Army, but I never thought about transition. You should start that process 2 years out. Finish your education. Make sure you know where you want to live. Pay your bills off. Make sure you're prepared to have a better life when you get out of the service. It's about preparation. It's about networking. It's about talking to people, about telling people exactly, you know, what kind of assistance you need. You know, every time I talk about transitioning, I look back at my life. I look back at all the wonderful people that I met during my time in the military and the kind things that they do for this country and for this nation, and what you did to make a difference in the lives of so many that people will just never know. They'll never know about the kind of sacrifices that you made, that we made, that we continue to make. You see, we all are part of a family, and we all need to make sure that we take care of each other. We need to take a quick break, and we will right back after a little bit. In fact, the next thing I want to talk to you is about war, so please stay with me. I'll be right back.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, proudly presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, the most trusted credit union owned by members of the military community, serving all branches of the armed forces and their families. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Their members are the mission. Purdue Global. You're ready for a comeback, and with Purdue Global, you can do more than take classes. You can take charge of your story, of your career, of your life. Earn a degree you can be proud of and get an education employers respect. Start your comeback at PurdueGlobal.edu. And USAA.
A promise is a trust not to be broken, whether spoken with an oath
Solemnly swear.
or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back, and thanks for taking the time to listen, because this is important to me and you. You probably don't know there's 200,000 veterans that are incarcerated. 86,000 are homeless, and more than 125,000 died by suicide since 2001. You know, I often think why there's so many people that are struggling when they're just to fit back into society. And so I want to tell you why I think it is. You know, I went to war at 18 years old. I went to Vietnam. In fact, I went to basic training, AIT, jump school, and then straight to war. I had no earthly idea of the effects of war and what I'd see. In fact, I got to tell you now, I'm probably going to cry a little bit in a couple of minutes, because I'm going to tell you my story about what I've seen. You see, I was in the Tet Offensive in '68 and seen a lot of things that no young man or no young woman should ever see. I was also overran once, 20 wounded and 7 killed. And I was on a tank. In fact, I was pulling guard on a tank when it happened, and the fight started, and we shot I think we shot probably about 40 rounds out of an .048. It's probably the scaredest I've ever been in my life. You see, I've never really seen death before. I've never seen the effects of war, the enemy and the people that you're serving with. One of the guys on the tank next to was hit with an RPG, and the RPG bored through and it took his chest out and took the leg off of the gunner, and it shot the TC in the back of the head, and all the bodies were down inside of the vehicle. You see, at 18 years old, you shouldn't see things like that. But you do. Young men go to war, and the majority of them are 18 to 24 that die in war. And those are the ones, I think, that come back and they struggle and to try to fit back into society. Those are the ones that are incarcerated because they don't know what to do. They don't know who to reach out to. They're afraid to tell their story. They're afraid to allow somebody to see exactly what's happening to them inside because they're not thinking the right way. They don't see things the right way. 86,000 are homeless. But more than anything else, more than 125,000 of the men and women that we've served with have taken their life by suicide. You see, when I came back from Vietnam, I was angry for a long time and I didn't know why. I didn't even understand what I was going through. I'd lose control, I'd yell, I'd scream, I'd hit. I'd do things that nobody should do. But I didn't know why. And I couldn't figure it out. And I guess because I got just a little bit older, I finally realized that I need to slow down. I need to think a little bit. I need to tell my story. I'm real open about things that went on in my life. I tell it all the time. I tell people how I feel and I cry. And I'm not ashamed of that because it hurts. And it'll never go away. I know that. And for some of you, it'll never go away either. It'll always be there in the back of your mind. And sometimes when you close your eyes and you see those kind of things, and you think about life, and you think about freedom, and you think about family. Tell your story. It's important. It's therapy for the people around you and your families. When we come back, we're gonna talk about families.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, brought to you in part by Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental, Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision.
Part of transitioning out is that dental and vision insurance breaks off from your medical insurance.
Vision and dental is very important to be able to enjoy your retirement.
Blue Cross Blue Shield makes the transition so much easier.
Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. I want to finish up by talking about two things that are important to me, and that's God and family. And first I want to talk about my family. I can't say enough about all the sacrifices that they made throughout my entire military career. You see, I was never home. I always missed a birthday and those special family occasions that I should have been there because I was always deployed somewhere. And they sacrificed so much for me. And when I got out of the Army, I always told my wife that I just can't pay her back enough. I can't pay my family back enough, and I missed those special times that I just wish I'd have been there. You know, I have 5 great grandbabies now, and I spend as much money on them as I can. They certainly like that. But more than anything else, though, is I like the fact that I get to see them grow. I get to see the men and women that they're going to be in the future, and hopefully I can stay around for a long time and help them as much as I can, because I love them just like all of you love your families. But don't miss those special times. Do everything you can to be with them each and every day, and talk to them and help them, and just do whatever you can to make their life better and better. I always talk about God because on a couple of occasions in my life, I'm sure all of you did the same thing. I've reached out to God and said, God, would you help me? The first one was years ago in Vietnam when I was in the jungle, and people were getting hurt and shot, and I just reached out and said, God, please help me get out of here. Whatever I did wrong, I'll never do it again. And of course, the second one was a prayer with my son when he had, and probably a lot of you heard the story where he had pneumococcus meningitis and had seizures and a lot of these things, and I thought he was going to die. And I actually went into a chapel and got down on my hands and knees and said, God, let him live or let him die. At the time, he was having seizures and they couldn't control anything. And anyway, the bottom line is the next day there wasn't nothing wrong with him. I do believe in life. I do believe in God. I believe in our country. And I believe we're all put here on this earth to make it better for the next person, for all of us around us. I just want to tell you, remember you're not alone. We're all part of a family. We need to make sure that we help each other each time you want to. And if you want to reach out to me, you can send me a message at 844-424-1134. Send me an email at smatilley@yournextmission.org. And guess what? I'll reach out to you, or check my social media pages out and send me a message. Anyway, thanks for listening, because this has been therapy for me. And I got to say, thanks to, of course, to our sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, USAA, Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental, and Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision. We appreciate all you do for our military. And as always, see you on the high ground. Hooah!
You've been listening to Your Next Mission, brought to you by the American Freedom Foundation. Learn more by visiting yournextmission.org.